I would like to show you something that I have.
What is it, like a girdle or something?
Well, kind of. They were used to cheat at playing poker cards or something like that.
A lot of people got killed with those in this town.
I'm sure they did. This is a pretty old device. It's about 1900s. I'm wanting to sell this anywhere from $1,500 to $1,600. We got it when Granny went into a nursing home, and she told me not to show anybody because it was illegal, so it was always stuffed behind the drawer.
Where did you get this?
My husband's grandfather owned a bar in the San Francisco area. One of the bar customers was going to prison, and he gave it to him and asked him to hold it for him.
Okay. I mean, the day people started gambling, I assume the very next day someone figured out a way to cheat.
I'm sure, yeah.
You know, everything from dice to cards, marking cards, and it's always been that. Looks like a mechanical device to cheat at cards. It's definitely cool. I mean, there's some really neat little engineering here. Do you know how any of this stuff works?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, I mean, we have like a little cord.
Dad, put it down.
I'm trying to figure it out here.
You're gonna break it. Yep, you
See,
just
that's
broke
what I
it.
thought I would have done.
Okay.
Now you broke it.
Of course, my dad has to pretend like he knows exactly how this thing works. Vegas may be a gambling town, but this is a little out of both of our wheelhouses. So what are you looking to do with it? Do you want to sell it, or
I just want to sell it.
any idea of what you want for it?
I'm thinking the range is anywhere from $600 to $6,000.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to call a friend of mine to come down and take a look at it. There's no way either of us are gonna know what this is worth.
Yeah?
I mean, it's,
Who would you be calling?
I've got a friend who's a magician on the Strip and collects all types of this stuff, and if anybody knows about it, it's gonna be him.
Let's do that. That would be great.
Be right back.
So I'm kind of concerned that the guys want to call a magician, and I'm not sure if a magician is qualified to give me value on a gambling product, but we're gonna see.
This is really cool, actually. Do you ever heard of the saying, "There's nothing up my sleeve"? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, this is the device that it started from. I can see why Rick called me in for a cheating device, because in magic, that's really what we do. We kind of cheat people out of reality. There was a guy who invented the first living device named Keplinger, and he was the #1 con man in the West Coast. He went up and down the Barbary Coast, the San Francisco coastline, cheating people. He came up with the first type called the Keplinger holdout. It was a card holdout, which meant it would actually hold the card within your sleeve, so it would hold it out until it would be switched with the cards in your hand.
This is really intriguing.
Now this one, by looking at the wells and the joints, the way it's designed, this is actually a Martin San Francisco card holdout, made in the 1920s, 1930s, all right?
Well, do you know how it works?
Yes, I do know how it works. And I actually brought a deck of cards with me.
Cool.
So here's what would happen. This area here is always called the thief. The reason why it's called a thief is because it would sneak out from your sleeve, grab a card and steal it, pull it back into your actual sleeve. And it actually fits right. All right, see how it pinches it. And this goes against your forearm. Rick, I'm gonna have you help me, do me a favor. Take that.
Okay.
Now, when it runs down your body, it comes all the way down with all these round joints. That's why they're round, so it rolls properly, all right? Now, this would be attached between your knees, and you'd open them up. And as you do that, it should slide. As long as we keep it pretty well linear, it should slide out. So pull
Can
it.
we pull it?
Yeah, you can pull.
Oh,
So
cool.
that comes out?
Your secret
All
has
right.
been told.
Keplinger's success actually got the best of him. He got caught by some gamblers. They offered to either kill him or him to make the device for them. He made the device for them, and they all went out cheating people. They all get caught, and they went to jail for the rest of their lives.
So what do you think it's worth?
These are really cool because there's not many around, and this is an amazing shape. So a lot of people use them for museum pieces, or they use them as a cool thing in their home to display. For a value on this, what you're looking for is anywhere between $1,500 and $2,200.
Woohoo!
All right?
That's great. Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me
Appreciate
in.
it, buddy.
Good seeing you guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys later, all right? Have a good day.
All right. He said it would go for like, what, 15 to 22?
Retail.
that was like retailing it. I would give you $800.
2,000.
There's no way I could give you 2,000. There's just no way. There's no money to be made.
How about 15?
No, I'd give you like $800. It's going to be difficult to sell.
13.
You can always put it back in the slot
There's
drawer.
wiggle
You
room
don't
at
have-
13.
You don't
You
have-
heard the guy.
All right, $900.
$900.
All right, Till.
Well, you know, I've learned something by coming here. I figured out I need to be a better negotiator, but all in all, I think it was worth it.
What in the world is that?
This is a sort of a gambling cheat card trimmer.
All right.
They would put the card in there and trim it down, and when they would deal, they would know what to feel for, so they would have an idea of what they were dealing.
Okay. I thought it was just you're really into precision gift wrapping.
No. I'm here at the pawn shop today to sell my gambling cheat card trimmer. I picked it up at an antique shop with my folks some decades ago, and it's been sitting on our coffee table for many years, and when people come over to it, invariably they ask about it and it strikes up a conversation. My wife's tired of it being around the house, so I'm hoping to sell it for $1,500 today.
I've never seen anything like this. So I'm assuming these were probably made after 1920. So this was used by a magician or someone cheating at cards. I can't think of any other use for it.
Neither can I.
If you have cards that feel a certain way in your hand, you can just go blah, 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 blah here and just go like ace of spades. So if you set this to the right measurement of a card, you make this little angle, put it in there, and
Exactly.
now there's a little angle on the side of that card. I mean, just a little micro amount is enough for when you're a very experienced magician. You can go through the deck and find the ace of spades every time, and people can go like, whoa. So how much you want for it?
Looking for $1,500.
Okay. Tell you the truth, I have no idea. I have a buddy who is a magician who collects this kind of stuff and would probably know everything there is to know about this. So if you can hang out a little bit, I'll give him a call and have him come down and take a look at it.
Okay, sounds great.
I'll be right back.
Right. I would welcome an expert's opinion on this. I think it would help figure out the real value, and maybe we can strike a deal.
So here we go, the cheating / magic machine.
Ah, you think magic's cheating, I see. This is pretty cool. This looks like it was 1930s, 1950s. You can cheat pretty well with these machines. They're pretty phenomenal. It's basically like a big paper cutter. It trims a card just enough, so literally when you run your finger down the outside of it, it'll stop exactly on the card that you want chosen. There's a stamp on here, and it says the Ball Brothers. They mainly made jars, but they also had a metal manufacturing company. So they'd make one-offs of all sorts of things. So do you mind if I use this? Try it?
No, please
Okay,
go right
I
ahead.
brought a deck of cards with me because every magician always has a deck of cards with them. Let's use the ace. And this obviously slides to the left. Let's go right to the edge here. You don't really take much off. You really take just a really slender amount off. There, see? Let's put that right in your hair. Perfect. So if I drop this in the pack somewhere, but if I go like this, if I run my finger right down the edge, I should come right to your card. So if you go like this, you go all the way down. And that should be the ace of spades.
Nice.
Isn't that great? So Rick, try it, seriously.
All right.
It's just a feeling.
All
Don't
right.
blow it, Rick. Just feel
all
it, just feel it.
There we go.
There you go, see? There you go.
Pretty
So
amazing.
anyways, that's how this works. In the old days, with this device, you and I could maybe go clean up Las Vegas. Back in the early 1900s, very simple. It was single deck, nobody really knew about cheating, but now it's very hard because, you know, they use 7, 8 decks and it's a different game. But this is a very cool item.
So how much do you think it's worth?
So, you know, for this device, the condition of it, and, you know, the demand that it's in, I would say $750.
Well, thanks, man.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck, all right?
So, what's your best price on it?
$1,250.
No. I go like $450 on it.
How about 600?
We cut the cards. If I get the ace of spades, we get it for $450. I'll go $450. That's the best I can go on it.
Make it 500 and we're done.
I'll go $475.
Only because my wife doesn't want me to come home with it.
Sounds like a deal. Okay. I'll meet you right over there. We'll do some paperwork.
Okay.
Or when you just need to take a little off the top. Not that I've done that in a long time.
Hey, what do you got here?
I got a 1950s Las Vegas Club $5 chip.
Yeah, I'll give you $5 for it.
You mind I look at it, Chumley?
$5.
No.
Probably give him $3 or $4 for
Chumley,
it.
shut up.
I've decided to go into the pawn shop today to sell my Las Vegas Club casino chip. Supposedly there's only 8 of them in the world, and I've got one of them. I paid a lot for this chip, but I'm trying to collect chips, and I'd rather have 40 additional chips from different casinos as opposed to tie up a lot of my money in one chip.
The Las Vegas Club, which is still downtown, was one of the end places to be. In fact, it's one of the oldest casinos in town. Back in the day, $5 was a huge bet, and a person that bet $5 a hand was classified as a high roller. A lot of the old school Vegas guys hung out at the Las Vegas Club. The Gods, Binions, the Stupecs, they were high rollers, and there's a good possibility they played with this chip. This is one of the rarest chips available. I'd say one of the top 20. The last time I was reading the chip book, there was 8 of these available.
That's what I understand.
Well, I think it's worth a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
Most of these chips are in rough condition due to the fact they were used up until the 50s. This chip here is as good as it gets. You want to pawn this? You want to sell it?
I would like to sell it.
So how much you trying to get out of it?
$6,000.
I paid you $6,000 for you. It put me in my grave.
From what I understand, back a long time ago, the casino re-glued the center sticker on half of them. And this one hasn't been re-glued, so mine's in a little better shape than some of the other ones.
I was thinking about $3,000.
How about $3,000 in a trade?
What do you want to trade?
$3,000 cash for this, plus those 3 statues right here. Frank, Sammy, and Dean.
We're trying to sell these statues for $600, but I only paid $100 for them. So if it's what I have to do to sweeten this deal, that's okay with me. Deal. Write him up, Chumley.
I was expecting $6,000, but I got to $3,000 cash, plus the statues, so I'm happy with the trade. I'm going to take my $3,000 and I'm going to go to the casinos. I'm in Vegas.
Rat Pack Collectibles is always on the market. This chip ain't. And I'm so damn happy I might crack a smile today.
This morning, a guy called the shop looking to sell a blackjack table from the old Stardust Casino. I love classic Las Vegas stuff, so I'm headed over with Chum to check it out.
This is what I called you about, my Stardust Blackjack table. I'm gonna sit down. Get comfortable.
Where'd you get this thing?
I bought this from the auction that the Stardust had after they closed in 2006. How do you play blackjack?
You've lived in Las Vegas your whole life and don't know how to play blackjack.
I decided to call the guys at the pawn shop to see what I could get for my blackjack table from the Stardust. I like this table because it comes from an actual Las Vegas icon. I mean, it's just a huge piece of local history.
Do you know much about the Stardust?
What I know about the Stardust is that it was originally opened in 1958 by a mob-run organization.
Oh, well, actually, it was run by sort of a regular guy, and then some other people sort of like took it over.
Oh, okay.
You ever see the movie Casino?
Yes, and I know that the movie was based off of this.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat place. I got my first like payroll job there.
You worked for the mob?
No, I worked in the coffee shop there. I worked there for 4 weeks and got fired.
How'd you get fired?
By acting like you. When the Stardust opened up in 1958, it was the hottest spot on the Strip, and it was a Vegas icon for almost 50 years. What do you want to do with it today?
I would like to sell it.
How much do you want for it?
I was thinking $2,500 for the whole 6 chairs and the table.
I just don't see it. I'm thinking more like $500.
I really think it's worth a lot more. With the historical value of the casino and the history behind this town, knowing that there are collectors out there, would you go 1,000?
I'll go $550. I'll have my guys come down here tomorrow with a pickup truck.
Would you go 650?
I'll tell you what, play a hand for it.
550 you win, 650 I win.
Let's do it.
I'm nervous for you, Rick.
Do the cards.
Oh, 8.
Oh my God. Hit me.
17. It's pretty good. 17's good, 18's better.
All right, $650.
Thank you.
You guys will be by in the morning to pick it up.
Thank you.
It seems like every time I gamble for something, I lose. But this is a great blackjack table, and for 650 bucks, I win either way. This being Vegas, I'll have no trouble selling it. What do we have here?
We have an 1861 gambling kit.
Nice.
You'll be a fish in the water playing poker with me.
Don't you mean I'd be fish out of water?
Well, whatever the case is, I'm gonna win it for playing poker.
I came to the pawn shop today to sell my antique gambling kit. I have another antique I'm ready to purchase. I'm hoping to get $8,000 for it, but I will take $6,000. This is their complete gambling kit. It comes with the Sharps Derringer, the Sheffield Boot Knife, all the gambling chips of all denominations. The chips are all ivory. The gambler named Haskell, he traveled to the California coast.
The Shasta.
He was pretty renowned.
Yeah, that's what a lot of professional gamblers did. They'd have these little kids, they would go to a bar, they would be the blackjack dealer, because the house always ends up winning in the end. Back in the 1860s, a professional gambler could go into a town, make a deal with a bartender, and set up shop at a saloon. But it was a dangerous job. And when a drunk guy loses his money, sometimes he's gonna want it back. That's why most kits like this came with some sort of weapon. The larger dice are ivory, the smaller ones are bone.
You seen anything?
I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is. It's
a poker chip.
Chum, you don't know the first thing about poker.
I bet I could bluff you.
I have some bad news. These chips are not ivory. They're made of bone. It's very porous. Ivory is not porous. And this is a big concern right here. These cards. Do you see why?
No.
There's numbers. The numbers came along later as more or less a convenience. You see what I mean? This is an old style card right here. When you're playing poker, it's when you're keeping it close to your vest. If you have the numbers and the letters in the corner, you could read them, okay? 1861 cards didn't have those. And that's a concern right there. But the Sharps, I can tell you right away, is 1860s. The gun, the knife, the chips, everything's in great shape and definitely valuable. I just don't know if this is a complete kit from the 1860s or if someone made it later. It makes a huge difference in the price. You know what? I might have an exact date on when this was made.
Really?
At least part of it, yeah. It's right there.
Yeah.
These are European hallmarks on the knife. First stamp right here is the maker. The second stamp right here is the city it's made in. The third stamp tells me it's sterling silver. And the fourth stamp tells me the year it was made. So I have a chart in my office that's going to tell me what year it was made. So if you don't mind, give me 5 minutes. Let me go look that up real quick. And we can more or less figure out almost exactly when this thing was made.
That'd be great.
I mean, if we have a knife that's dated 1900, I'm going to have a problem. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So let me look it up. This set is so cool on so many levels. But without any more paperwork, you can't prove it belonged to this famous gambler. But what I can figure out is what date this knife was made. If it was made after this guy was already gone, I'll know it was assembled at a later date and didn't belong to this gambler. Earlier, a guy brought in a gambling set. He said it's from the 1860s. Stuff like this is often faked, but I have a way of checking. There's some markings on the knife, and from those markings, you can determine the year the knife was made. So, tell me more about this guy, C. Haskell. Do you know when he died?
In the 1870s, he passed in Northern California.
Okay. I figured out the date on the knife.
Okay.
Okay. This knife wasn't made until 1887.
Okay.
Apparently long after this guy had passed away. Now, you take that in conjunction with the cards up there, I begin to think a lot of this might be pieced together.
I was amazed at the age of the knife. I was thinking it was older, but the books don't lie.
I believe this kit was probably an original gambling kit, but I do not think it is from 1861. Someone, maybe around the turn of the century, had that gun laying around, had this kit made, and someone eventually put this in there to make it look like a famous gambler owned it. That being said, It doesn't mean it's worthless. You know, we still have value here. How much were you looking to get out of it?
$8,000.
That is a perfectly acceptable number for something from 1861. This is not that old, though. I'm thinking more like 2,000 bucks.
$2,000. You know, I'm tied up a lot more into it than that. I paid $3,000 for it, and that's what I really need to get out of it.
That's tough. Gosh, I'll tell you what. I'll go 3,000 on it. Everything in this set is old and has collector value. Even though this didn't belong to a famous gambler, I can still get at least $4 grand, maybe more.
I got this old card playing book, published in 1866. I think you'd be interested in.
Sweet. Does it teach you about having a poker face? That's pretty good.
This book, not in the best condition, but it's an old book. I think it was just for the home use, people wanting to learn the different card games. I'm hoping to get $1,500, and the least amount would be $1,000.
So where'd you get the book from?
Won it in a poker game.
So let me get this right. You're playing a poker game with your buddy, and you make a raise, and he can't cover with chips, so you say, how about that old poker book?
Yeah, that's how it went.
I like your style. You said it was published when?
In 1866.
The long whist, Dumby or three-handed whist, 5-card cribbage. It's got a lot of games I've never heard of, man. Straight poker, draw poker. Never heard of whiskey poker, but I have heard of stud poker. All right, so it does have some poker in there. This is a really cool book. I think a book like this belongs here in Vegas. A town like this was built on card playing.
Yes, it was. That's why I brought it here.
Rick always tells me to buy things from the early days of gambling, and this book is practically ancient. It might be falling apart a little, but I might go drop a $20 bill and pick this thing up for myself.
How much do you want to sell it for?
$1,500.
$1,500, man. I was thinking 20, 30 bucks.
I looked online, I found one similar, and they were asking 25.
You sure there wasn't a decimal point after that 5?
No, there wasn't. I looked over it again and again.
Not saying I don't believe you, man, but that's a lot of money for a book on card rules. But it is pretty old. I got my book expert in the back, and she's going over a few other things. So I'd like her to come take a look at this, if you don't have any objection to that.
I welcome it. I'd like to know more about the book.
All right, cool.
I'm very happy that the book expert's here. I'm ready to prove him wrong and walk out with some money.
Well, Rebecca, sorry to pull you away from the dungeon with Rick, but here's the rule book I was telling you about.
I'm in the back, I'm looking at a bunch of books for Rick, and then Chum calls me out. He wants me to look at another book. These guys are all business. Can't we just go out and get a cup of coffee? So much to ask. What do we have here?
Book published in 1866 about different card games.
Okay, where'd you get it?
Won it in a poker game.
You won a card book in a poker game?
Yes, I did.
All right, well, let's take a look at it then. So this is just a great example of one of those how-to books that they had in the 19th century. These things were really popular because there wasn't a great educational system, so then you get all these how-to books, how to be a gentleman, how to cook, how to clean, how to play cards.
Is a book like this actually collectible?
You know, it's not a first edition Huckleberry Finn, but there are people who really love collecting gambling books, so there is a market for it. The thing that's interesting about this book in particular is that there weren't actually any books on the rules of poker until 1858 that's documented. So this one at 1866 is kind of a big deal. And there are some other things going on with it that might be interesting to a collector. Las Vegas is the perfect market for this because you're going to have people who are really excited about gambling, and you have professional poker players coming here all the time. They'd love something like this.
So he wants $1,500 for this beat-up old dusty book.
Well, a book like this you expect to be beat up. It's going to be heavily used. I mean, that being said, what I would place this book at if I were to give it a price, I would say $2,000, maybe a little bit more.
$2,000? Are you guys taking shots in the back row? All right. Wow, it sounds like you got a winner here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Yep, my pleasure. Chum was really surprised about how much this book could go for, but there's a whole genre of collecting gambling books, so there's a market for it.
So how much do you want to get for it?
She said 2,000. How about 1,800?
I'm not going to go that high. My boss would kill me if I bought a book for $1,800 and made $200 on it, and if it sat in here for a year, there's no way I'd keep my job. I'm looking more like about 1,200.
That's too low. It'd be an easy sell.
It's not as easy as you think.
I think it is. You're in Vegas.
If this was first Tom Sawyer, I could put this in this case and it would be gone tomorrow. But it's a specialized book on gambling, so give me a more realistic number that I could work with, man.
1,600.
If you can come down just a little bit more, maybe 1,350, you know, I could definitely make a deal with you.
Make it 14, you can go write it up.
I think I'm gonna have to leave it on the table with you.
1375, and you can go write it up.
I'm not gonna beat you up over $25. That's a deal.
Lucky for me, I got a good deal on the poker book. There's a customer in the shop with a copy of The Expert at the Card Table. This is a book about sleight of hand and card tricks, and it's supposed to be very rare. He's asking $11,000, so I'm asking Murray the Magician to come down and take a look. Nice outfit.
Thank you. Like this? You like it?
I do. You're probably looking at him right now thinking, doesn't look like a very honest guy. And I assure you he's an honest guy, and you can tell just from this picture.
That was me like at 16. Oh my God, I'll buy that off you.
Well, Murray, this is the book I called you in about.
This book is a huge book in the magic world. Actually, it's probably the #1 book on teaching card mechanics, on how to deal, shuffle, and force cards on people. Somebody who made this book extremely famous in our magic world is a gentleman named Di Vernon. And he would be at the Magic Castle in Hollywood. And you'd walk in, and he'd literally be sitting at a small table. It was his table, a suit, jacket, and tie, and he'd be doing this book page by page, and he knew every move. And from then on, it's become this book that's kind of like the holy grail of card books. It's also one of the first books that ever taught cheating with cards. Back in the day, people weren't getting this book to learn how to do magic tricks. They were getting this book to actually learn how to cheat at gambling, like a legitimate career.
Maybe you can teach me a little bit of these tricks for my home poker game.
Maybe I can.
Yeah, let's see it.
Draw deck cards, all right? How many aces are in deck cards?
4.
4, so we go once, twice, 3, and 4. Just like this, you'll notice there's all 4 aces, just like that.
Oh, wow.
So tell me to force any card you want out of the deck to you. What card do you want me to force you for you to have?
2 of clubs.
2 of clubs? All right, say stop whenever you want.
Stop.
Right there?
Yeah.
Take the card. 2 clubs? It worked. There's some slights for you.
Quite the trick, quite the trick. So what do you think?
Can we have a look at it?
Yeah, let's take a look. There's some pages that have some handwriting, which is really interesting. You can see here. What's really interesting about that is I don't think any modern magician would actually write in this book knowing what it is.
No, this definitely looks like a first edition book. Cool, well, it looks the real deal to me.
How much do you think it's worth, Murray?
Well, in the magic world, this book is very collectible. So I've seen these books go for as much as $13,000.
Wow, yeah.
But because it's written in, it could value anywhere between $4,000 to $13,000.
All right, well, thanks for coming by, Murray.
Great.
We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, guys. Take care, all right?
Thanks,
Good luck with it, all right?
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Well, you heard everything Murray had to say. Although he gave me good information, I want to call down my book expert. That way she can tell me the condition of the book and we can get a better idea of the actual value. Then we'll talk about a price once she leaves.
That sounds great. I'm with it. I believe my copy of the book is in good condition. I don't think it's, mint condition, but I hope that the experts will agree.
Just the honest person I need for a book about cheating.
All right, that's why you brought me in.
Murray says that in the magic world, if you're gonna own one book, this is the book to have in your collection.
Oh, yeah. These days, this first edition has this really fun status. It's like talked about but rarely seen. It has this mystique. Who wrote this book? Because it's clearly a pseudonym. And that is exactly the type of thing that's really appealing to magicians. People trying to figure out who it is, like a mystery that you want to solve. So I need to check condition, edition, and completeness for this. So can you show me a few of the pages if I can?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd love to.
All right, some specific instruction.
Okay.
Can you show me the copyright page just on the other side of the title page? Excellent. All right, now give me just like a once-over of the binding. I just want to see all the different kind of angles and sides of it. Famous magicians from across the 20th century have sought out this book. We know, for example, that Houdini had a copy. He had the 1905 edition, and it's now in the Library of Congress.
So what do you think?
Looking at this is a very good copy in terms of condition. And remember, in rare books, good is bad. Good is not what you want. You want fine, you want near fine. Very good is what most copies look like. This is exactly the type of book that sees a lot of practical use. And inside, you'll see cracking at those hinges. Handbooks and manuals and things, they just receive very typical wear. I mean, they're meant to be used. This book is a first edition, and at the moment, there are about 40 copies that have been traced. So what I would say for this particular copy is it's gonna be something more around $5,000.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Yeah,
day.
take
Appreciate
care.
it. Nice to meet you.
That answered the other half of my questions. Rebecca's valuing it at about $5,000. Would you sell it for $3,500?
Whew, well, it's a little further than I wanted, a little further away than where I wanted to be. How about we go 10?
$4,000 is going to be firm where I'm at if you do want to sell it.
Well, I got a pretty good deal on it, and at that price, I think I'll try to ride up the market for a few years, and I think I'll hold on to it for my collection at that point.
All right, well, thanks for bringing it in, and if you change your mind, you know who wants to buy it for $4,000.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Have a good
See you
day.
later. I didn't make the sale today, but I might be able to trick someone else into giving me that price down the road.